There is a moment, a flash in time, so small, so silent, so easily missed, yet powerful enough to reroute the entire trajectory of your life. That moment is called decision. It doesn't announce itself, it doesn't beg for your attention, it simply appears, waiting for your command. And in that one breath between hesitation and commitment, you either choose to stay chained to the life you've known, or you ignite the one you were born to live. Everything you want, everything you crave, everything you've dreamed in the solitude of sleepless nights, it doesn't lie in the hands of fate or chance or luck. It lies in the next decision you make. You are not waiting on the world. You are not waiting on the perfect time. You are waiting on you. And when you realize that, when you awaken to the raw truth that power has always lived within you, you'll stop chasing change and become it. You are one decision away from a new life, and the clock is already ticking. History doesn't remember the comfortable, it remembers the committed. Edison didn't stumble upon the light bulb through blind luck. He made a decision to keep going after 1,000 failures. Lincoln didn't free a nation because it was easy. He decided that unity was worth the fight. Carnegie didn't rise from rags to wealth by waiting. He made a decision to dominate steel. Disney didn't birth a global empire from fantasy. He decided that imagination deserved to be reality. You see, greatness isn't born in comfort. It's born in decision. Relentless, often lonely, soul-wrenching decisions to begin, and begin again, and begin again. When the noise gets loud, when the doubts grow stronger, when the results don't yet appear, you still decide. You've been taught to seek security, to wait until you're ready, to ask permission from a world that's more afraid of your potential than you are. But those who transform their lives, those who leave legacies, they don't wait for confidence, they build it through action. They don't pray for the map, they draw it with every step. They don't look for guarantees, they create certainty by becoming unstoppable. And that power, that fire, that resolve, it's already within you, buried beneath the rust of years spent doubting yourself, hidden behind the walls of what if and maybe someday. But the truth is, it takes one clear, unshakable, all-in decision to wake it all up. One, the decision to rise, to build, to believe when belief is bruised and bleeding, to choose purpose over comfort. That is how new lives are born, one choice at a time. The mind is your battlefield and decision is your sword. Thoughts will rise like waves, crashing with fear, hesitation, and excuses. They will tell you you're not ready, that you're too late, that you've failed too many times. But your decision is your defiance. When you decide, you silence doubt. When you decide, you rewrite the story. When you decide, you take the pen back from everyone who ever told you to play small. Make no mistake, decision is not a thought, it's not a wish, it's not a maybe, it is a command. It is the internal declaration that says, I will. No matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, I will. That level of certainty bends reality. That level of belief warps probability. And that level of resolve, it breaks cycles. Generational ones, emotional ones, psychological ones. You were not made to repeat history. You were made to change it. And it begins when you finally decide to. You've been waiting for the sign. You are the sign. You've been waiting for the right conditions. You create the conditions. There will never be a moment where everything lines up perfectly, where the fear vanishes and the road glows in gold. That is a fantasy sold by those afraid to leap. The truth? The road is dark until you walk it. The light comes with motion, and momentum is birthed in the decision to move. Your life is not a lottery, it's not a gamble, it's a mirror, reflecting every choice you've made, every belief you've clung to, every standard you've accepted. You don't rise by chance, you rise by decision. Raise your standards, and the world will rise to meet them. Stay where you are, and the world will treat you as you've instructed. This is not cruel. It is law. The law of cause and effect. The law of sowing and reaping. The law that Hill himself etched into eternity. What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. but only through decision, only through action. What are you waiting for? For approval? For certainty? For a future that's guaranteed before you even step into it? Then you'll be waiting forever, and forever will bury your potential. The graveyard is filled with dreams delayed by indecision, with genius lost to fear, with greatness silenced by hesitation. Don't let that be your story, not when the fire is still in you, not when you are one breath, one bold move, one unwavering decision away from everything changing. Think of the lives you'll touch when you rise. Think of the chains you'll break when you choose. Think of the legacy you'll leave when you no longer wait to be chosen, because you've already chosen yourself. You were not born to live a life of quiet agreement, nodding along to the limitations the world placed on you. You were born with fire in your lungs and thunder in your voice, built to shake foundations and walk through storms as if they were sidewalks. But you've forgotten that power, not because it disappeared, but because the world buried it beneath comfort. Every time you chose safety over vision. Every time you settled because others were uncomfortable with your ambition. Every time you dimmed your light to make others feel brighter. But the truth never left you. It waits. And now it's rising. That inner knowing, that sacred unrest, that voice that whispers, this isn't all there is. It's not your enemy. It's your invitation. That ache in your soul, that's destiny knocking. You can't ignore it any longer. You can't unhear the call once it's been heard, because you were made for something more, and that something begins the moment you decide to no longer betray your future for the comfort of your past. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs vision. It needs people like you to remember who they are, not the surface version, the real you, the one who remembers what it was like to believe in impossible things, the one who still hears the echo of childhood dreams and refuses to call them naive. You haven't lost your potential. You've only stopped listening to it. But it's still there, buried under conformity, waiting for you to step out of the line and say, I choose. That is your superpower, choice. You can choose to rise even after years of falling. You can choose to reinvent yourself even when the world says you can't. You can choose to declare a new standard for your life and back it with every ounce of action, faith, and grit inside you. Choice is the gate. Action is the key. Discipline is the walk through it. And reward? That's just the echo of relentless decisions honored by time. The problem is never time. It's priority. You say you want a new life, but are you organizing your minutes like someone who means it? Your morning tells the truth, your habits tell the truth, your excuses, they scream the truth. You can't keep waiting to feel ready. Confidence is not a requirement, it is a result. It is the dividend paid to those who do the work while still shaking, while still doubting, while still bleeding from the last battle. Champions are not fearless, they're faithful. They trust the process more than the pain. They lean in when others lean out, and they do not negotiate with average. That's what separates the few from the many. Not talent, not luck, not access. Standards. The decision to say, this is who I am now, no turning back. The bold refusal to live beneath what you know you're capable of. You were not given this life to merely survive it. You were given this life to sculpt it. To mold it like clay with every act of discipline, with every drop of sweat, with every hard decision no one sees. That is the price of greatness. Private victories. The hours when no one's watching, the mornings when quitting whispers louder than hope, the moments when every cell in your body says rest and your soul says rise. That's where the new life is born. Not in the spotlight, not in applause. But in the dark, when it's just you and your decision, you think success is about luck, number. Success is structure. Success is routine. Success is boring until it's brilliant, but you'll never taste it if you only chase what feels good. You want a new life? Then make decisions that look crazy now, but make sense in a decade. Wake up earlier, shut out distractions, break off dead weights. Turn silence into your sanctuary. Feed your mind with vision, your body with strength. your soul with truth. You don't need more time, you need more intention. Most people are addicted to hesitation. They dress it up in research, in waiting, in just being cautious. But the truth is, they're afraid of being seen trying, afraid of failing in public, afraid of giving it everything and still not making it. But hear this, there is no shame in bold attempts. The shame is in dying without ever stepping into the arena, without ever testing the weight of your wings. Failure is not your enemy. Fear of action is, because failure can teach, but hesitation only haunts. Make the call, launch the idea, have the conversation, make the move, take the risk, not recklessly but relentlessly, because life will not hand you power. It demands you earn it, not once, but daily, in how you think, in how you speak, in how you carry yourself when no one is cheering, in how you decide. No one is coming to rescue you. No mentor, no boss, no breakthrough moment will arrive on a white horse and lift you out of mediocrity. Because the truth is, you are the cavalry. You are the one you've been waiting for. And once you accept that, once you stop outsourcing your transformation to external forces, you become dangerous. Because now you're playing the game on your terms. No more begging for opportunities. No more shrinking to fit into systems that were never built with your destiny in mind. You build your own. You don't ask if there's room at the table. You craft the table. Brick by brick, habit by habit, word by word. Your life is your design. And the blueprint, it's written in every small decision you make when it's tempting to compromise. It's easy to talk about vision. It's easy to get excited about big dreams. But the bridge between who you are and who you could become is not built with passion alone. It's built with discipline. The unglamorous grind, the repetitive, unsung early morning, late night discipline of someone who understands that greatness is not a moment. It is a lifestyle, a rhythm, a code. And those who master it, they don't need to talk about potential. They become the proof. They move different, speak different, think different, because they've made a decision to never go back to who they were before they believed. Understand this. Once you've glimpsed your potential, you are forever haunted by the cost of not chasing it. You can no longer pretend that average is enough. You will always feel a friction with normalcy because your spirit was made for more. But the world will test you. It will try to convince you to shrink again, to tone it down, to stay safe. And in those moments, your decision must become defiance. You must stand in the furnace and say, burn off whatever you must, but I will not bow. Because clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from walking. You don't find purpose by sitting still. You find it by colliding with discomfort, by running toward resistance, by deciding that your life will mean something, not someday. Now don't you dare let comfort kill your calling. The greatest danger isn't failure, it's success at something that doesn't fulfill you. A full bank account and an empty soul. Applause from the world and silence in your heart. That is not the goal, that is the illusion. The real prize is purpose. And purpose only reveals itself to those brave enough to choose it without all the answers. You are allowed to start over, to break the pattern, to say, this ends with me. You are allowed to become the version of yourself that once intimidated you, but you must decide, not once, daily, in every moment when fear says wait and your future says go. Your mind is not your master, it is your tool. You were never meant to obey your emotions. You were meant to lead them with focus, with belief, with vision so clear, the world begins to shift around your certainty. That's what happens when decision becomes identity. You don't just choose the new life, you embody it. You speak like it, walk like it, work like it, think like it, until the old version of you has no oxygen left to survive. People will misunderstand you, let them. People will question your pace, your goals, your intensity. Let them. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be transformed, and transformation is lonely before it becomes legacy. But once you decide, the loneliness becomes fuel. You start to see the world differently. Where others see obstacles, you see openings. Where others seek permission, you move with conviction. Because you finally know who you are. Not because someone told you, but because you decided to remember. And no one can take that from you. Not critics, not failure, not time. Because when you make the decision to never go back, to never settle again, to rise no matter what, you've already won. The new life doesn't wait. It watches for the brave, for the decisive, for those who stop asking if they're worthy and start declaring that they are. Right now, not when it's perfect, not when it's easy, not when it's convenient. Now, in this breath, in this second, in this sacred, irreversible decision to rise. You can feel it, can't you? That electricity in your chest, the kind that surges not from caffeine or adrenaline, but from alignment. That moment when your soul finally says, yes, this is it. That's not hype. That's not fiction. That's the real you waking up. That's the voice that's been drowned out by years of playing small, now rising through the static like a roar that refuses to be ignored. And here's the truth. Once you hear that roar, once you taste that alignment, going back is not only impossible, it's soul death. You cannot unsee what you've seen. You cannot unfeel this conviction. The world may try to distract you, delay you, derail you, but it can no longer deny you. Because a person who has decided is no longer up for debate. You are not waiting for a better moment. You're not seeking validation. You are not checking the temperature of the crowd. You are the thermostat. You set the tone. You define the rules. You lead with fire. Because when you decide, you take ownership of your existence. And ownership is where all power begins. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop scrolling for the next hit of inspiration. That's the trap. That's the loop. That's the cycle that keeps you hyped for a day, but unchanged for a decade. What you need is not another spark. What you need is a furnace. Something that stays lit even when the lights go out. That's what real decision ignites. A furnace of discipline, of vision, of action that is blind to excuses. Look around you. How many people do you see coasting on cruise control, living someone else's idea of a good life, medicating their dreams with distraction, confusing contentment with numbness? Don't let that be you. You weren't meant to blend in with the noise. You were meant to rise through it, to tear through average like a storm breaking the silence of stale skies. You've been given the rarest opportunity in existence, choice. No matter where you've been, no matter what's happened, you are still free to choose your next step. And that next step, it changes everything. One decision to show up earlier, one decision to stay later, one decision to build when others are resting. One decision to believe again. That's all it takes. Because momentum doesn't require perfection. It requires movement. The most powerful people in the world are not the ones who had the cleanest path. They are the ones who refused to stop walking. The Edisons, the Lincolns, the Disneys, the Fords. They were not spared from hardship. They were forged by it. Not blessed by easy wins, but transformed by impossible odds. They didn't wait for clarity. They moved until clarity had no choice but to catch up. And you are made of the same raw material. You have the same access to resolve. The same right to persistence, the same power to direct your mind and body towards something immortal. But you must stop treating your dreams like hobbies. You must stop treating your life like a dress rehearsal. There are no encores. This is it. The time is not tomorrow. It is always now. The power is not in your potential. It's in your pattern. What you repeatedly do, think, and speak. That's the soil where destiny either grows or dies. And your decision, this decision, is the water. Nothing thrives without it. You can feel inspired all day long, but if you don't decide and follow through with unshakable consistency, it fades, and you return to the same loop. Excitement, delay, regret, break it. Today. Not emotionally, intentionally. With clarity, with structure. With a vow made in private that echoes louder than any public applause ever could. Because when you decide, you become dangerous. Not in violence, but in vibration. Your energy shifts. Your pace sharpens. Your voice carries weight. You walk into rooms and no longer seek acceptance. You radiate purpose. People can feel it. Life responds to it. Doors begin to open, not because they magically appear, but because your vision finally has the force to knock them down. Every conversation changes, every action sharpens, your yes becomes sacred, your no becomes final. And every breath you take from that moment forward is a declaration: I am not the same. You are not who you were yesterday, not after this, not after choosing to wake up, to really wake up and feel the full weight of what your life could be. You've made the most powerful move a human being can make. You've decided, and in that decision, you've set something irreversible into motion. You've drawn a line in time, a before and an after. The person you were, the one who doubted, who delayed, who dimmed their own light for the comfort of others, is gone. Not because you talked about change, but because you chose it. Because you made the quiet, defiant, sovereign decision to rise from the ashes of your past and become the architect of your future. You've stepped into a realm most people will never touch, not because they can't, but because they won't. But you did. You crossed the threshold. You burned the excuses. You abandoned the lie that you were stuck. And now everything changes. The world will still try to pull you back. It will whisper nostalgia for your former limits. It will send challenges dressed as chaos, but none of it matters now, because something inside you has become non-negotiable. You are not seeking change. You are change. You are no longer chasing power. You've claimed it. And the battles ahead, they don't intimidate you, they fuel you, because you know this path isn't about ease, it's about evolution. The pressure doesn't crush you anymore, it refines you. The storms don't scare you, they summon you. Because once you decide who you truly are, adversity becomes a mirror, not a threat. It reveals you, sharpens you, prepares you for a level of life you were once too afraid to imagine, but not anymore. Because you've stopped entertaining the version of yourself that settles. You've stopped asking for permission to live fully. You've severed the contract with fear and signed a new one with fire. From this moment forward, your life is your responsibility. Your thoughts are your responsibility. Your energy, your integrity, your impact, your responsibility. And that's not a burden. It's your birthright. The pain you've carried, the setbacks you've endured, the detours you've taken, they are not disqualifications. They are the credentials of someone who has earned their transformation. And now, every scar becomes a signature. Every failure becomes a seed. Every tear becomes a testament to the truth that you did not quit. You kept walking when others sat down. You believed when logic said stop. You rose when no one clapped. And that's what makes you unstoppable. So let the world watch. Let the critics talk. Let the doubts come knocking. None of it changes the decision. None of it touches the root, because the real shift wasn't in your results, it was in your resolve. And when resolve becomes identity, momentum becomes inevitable. You wake up with purpose, you move with precision, you speak with fire, and you no longer hope for change, you embody it. You are the proof, you are the pattern, you are the possibility turned into presence. This is your moment, your line in the sand. Your rebirth. One decision, that's all it ever took. And now that you've made it, you don't go back. You don't slow down. You don't dim again to make others comfortable. You rise not just for yourself, but for every soul who will one day point to you and say, because they didn't quit, I didn't either. You are one decision away from a new life. And now that you've made it, go live it. Burn the ships, own your voice, move the mountain, and never, never look back. The world is waiting for the full force of who you really are. Go show it.